Hey, Soul Stories fam. We've got a sweet and totally swoon-worthy love story for you today. Let's jump in. The city's central train station buzzed with activity on a crisp morning. Early sunlight filtered through the trees, casting golden rays over a sea of people hurrying by with suitcases, bags, and snatched conversations. The loudspeaker announcements blended with the steady beat of footsteps and the roll of wheels on marble tiles. The air smelled of autumn, carrying hints of coffee from a nearby stand, and the sweet aroma of pastries drifting somewhere in the crowd. Elliot Vale, 33, stepped out of a sleek black car, its tinted windows shielding him from the outside world. Dressed in an expensive gray suit and with neatly combed brown hair, his deep blue eyes betrayed the fatigue of sleepless nights. As the CEO of ValeTech, a leading tech company, Elliot was used to controlling everything from multi-million-dollar deals to his packed daily schedule. But this morning, his heart was racing for an entirely different reason. A message from an unknown number had brought him here. Central Station. 8 a.m. The sender hinted it was Claire, his ex-girlfriend, who had walked out on him 3 years ago without a word. Elliot told himself he just wanted confirmation, to close the chapter. But deep down, he wasn't sure what he was hoping for. He stood among the crowd, eyes scanning faces. Then he saw her soft brown curls, a blue coat, a petite frame he could never forget. Without thinking, Elliot pushed forward, weaving through hurried passengers. He wrapped his arms around her from behind and whispered, "Claire, is it really you?" The woman in his arms froze. A second of silence stretched like eternity. Then a clear, teasing voice responded, "Oh, are we getting back together now?" That was fast. Elliot flinched and let go like he'd been shocked. The woman turned around and he immediately realized this wasn't Claire. In front of him stood a woman around 27 with mischievous brown eyes and a grin as bright as the fall sun. She was holding a pastel-colored pastry box, her headphones loose around her neck, and an oversized scarf wrapped around her like she'd stepped out of a painting. Lana Brooks, owner of the Sugar and Bloom Bakery, was clearly not the woman he had been looking for. Sorry, Elliot stammered, a rare occurrence for someone usually composed. "I mistook you for someone else." Lana tilted her head, pretending to study him seriously. "Mistaken, huh? Sure didn't feel like a mistake from that hug. Want me to call Claire for you?" She winked, her tone light but playfully mocking. Elliot's face flushed, not entirely from embarrassment, but from the strange awkwardness he felt in front of this woman. He was about to walk away and end the bizarre moment, but Lana opened her box, pulled out a sugar-glazed donut, and handed it to him. "Here," she said, pushing the pastry into his hand. "A gift for the most ridiculous hug of the day. No need to thank me." Elliot stared at the donut, then at Lana. Her smile was radiant, like it could melt the morning chill. In that moment, he felt something unexpectedly warm stir in his chest. "I don't eat sweets," he replied stiffly, trying to regain his usual cold demeanor. "Then next time, make sure you hug the right girl," Lana shot back with a shrug, turning on her heel. Her curls bounced as she walked away, disappearing into the crowd, leaving Elliot standing there, donut in hand, mind blank. That evening, in his luxurious but cold penthouse, Elliot sat on the couch, staring out over the glittering city. The donut still sat on the kitchen counter, untouched. He hadn't eaten it, but couldn't bring himself to throw it away either. The image of the strange girl kept surfacing, her smile, her voice, the way she'd turned an awkward moment into a joke. He wasn't used to this feeling. His life was numbers, contracts, and endless meetings. There was no room for spontaneous moments or uncalculated laughter. He picked up a small business card that had fallen from the pastry box, one he had unintentionally kept. Sugar and Bloom, the Bakery of Joy. A messy handwritten note beneath read, "Lana Brooks, owner. Stop by, stranger." Elliot didn't smile, but a flicker of curiosity lit inside him like a small flame in the cold wind. He didn't know that one mistaken hug had opened a door he thought had long been sealed shut. Elliot wasn't easily swayed. He had grown up in a wealthy but emotionally distant family. His mother passed away young, and his father only cared about money. His grandmother, Amelia, was the only source of warmth in his life. But even she couldn't fill the void. Claire, the only woman he had ever loved, once made him believe in love. But when she left, he locked his heart away. And yet today, a stranger with a bright smile and a silly donut had thrown him off balance. Lana, meanwhile, returned to her small apartment still scented with fresh cookies. She retold the story to Becca, her best friend and self-declared love advisor. "You should have seen his face," Lana giggled, "like he just committed a felony. But his eyes, they looked really sad, Becca." Becca raised an eyebrow. "Noticed his eyes already? Be careful, you might be falling." Lana laughed and waved her off, but she couldn't shake the image of the man in the gray suit from her mind. Elliot lay in bed, the glow of the city lights seeping through the windows. He thought about Claire, about why he'd rushed to the station, but Lana's face kept slipping in her teasing, her jokes, and that ridiculous donut. He told himself he wouldn't go back, that it was just a fleeting moment, but deep down, he knew he was lying. Lana, in her cozy apartment, smiled as she thought of the stranger at the station. She didn't know who he was, but something about him, a quiet sadness, made her want to see him again. She grabbed her phone and texted Becca. "If he doesn't eat that donut, I'll be seriously disappointed." Becca replied instantly. "You gave a CEO a donut and didn't even know it. Girl, you better look him up." That night, neither of them slept well. Elliot, because of a strange emotion he couldn't quite name. Lana, because of a gut feeling that this accidental meeting might change something. The central station, with all its chaos and randomness, had unknowingly connected two people who seemed to come from completely different worlds. Sugar and Bloom sat tucked into a quiet corner of the street, its glass windows painted with pastel floral patterns, and the air filled with the warm scent of butter cookies and freshly brewed coffee. Inside, soft golden lights from hanging lamps spilled over the wooden counter where Lana Brooks, in a flower-dusted pale blue apron, was focused on decorating cupcakes. Acoustic music played from a small speaker, blending with the cheerful chatter of a few regulars. 3 days had passed since the mistaken hug at the train station, and Lana had almost forgotten the man in the gray suit until the bell over the door jingled. Elliot Vale stepped in, wearing a deep navy suit that hugged his tall frame. His blue eyes were sharp as ever, though tiredness lingered in them. Lana looked up, a wide grin spreading across her face. "Oh my gosh, it's Mr. Mistaken Hug," she exclaimed, setting the cupcake tray down. "Back for another accidental embrace? Or has my donut been haunting you?" Elliot paused, clearly unaccustomed to such lively greetings. "I just want to buy a donut," he said, his voice low and stiff, pointing to the rack of sugar-dusted donuts, just like the one Lana had shoved into his hand. Lana crossed her arms, pretending to be serious. "Just buying a donut? You almost made me drop an entire pastry box at the station, and now you stroll in here, looking like you're headed to a business gala? No extra apology?" Becca, Lana's best friend, was drying coffee cups in the corner and chimed in with a playful tone. "Lana, let the poor man breathe. Look at that suit, clearly too busy for full-day apologies." She winked at Elliot, making him visibly awkward. Elliot cleared his throat, trying to maintain composure. "You gave me a donut. I figured that made us even." "Even?" Lana laughed loudly, leaning against the counter. "You startled me in the middle of a train station, and you think one donut makes us square? Come on, pick one still going with the sugar glaze?" Elliot nodded, his gaze flicking to Lana, and then settling on the pastry rack. "That one. Just one." Lana wrapped the donut and slyly slipped a business card into the paper bag. "Here you go. But this time, if you're planning on hugging someone, maybe look at their face first, she said with a wink as she handed it to him. Their fingers brushed, and Elliot quickly pulled away like he'd been shocked. Becca, behind the counter, whispered just loud enough for both of them to hear. "Lana, you're making him shy. Look, he's blushing." "Blushing?" Lana spun around, pretending to scold her. "He's a walking ice cube. Blushing's not in his vocabulary." She turned to Elliot, grinning. "Right, my friend?" Elliot frowned slightly, but the corner of his mouth twitched. "I'm not blushing," he replied dryly, though his eyes showed a flicker of amusement. He took the bag, gave a curt nod, and left the bell jingling behind him. The next morning, Elliot returned at exactly 8:30. Lana was behind the counter, chatting with Mr. Henry, an older regular who always came by for fresh bread. "See, I told you, this place is packed because the pastries are amazing," Lana beamed. As Elliot entered, she lit up. "Aha! My VIP is back. Mr. Henry, this is the guy who's been buying the same donut every day, clearly addicted to my baking." Mr. Henry, with his silver hair and glasses perched low on his nose, chuckled. "Sweetheart, is he buying donuts or buying your smile? Look at the man dressed like he's headed to the Senate." Elliot, now standing at the counter, tried to keep a straight face. "I was just passing by," he said, pointing at the sugar donuts. "Same one." "Passing by?" Lana raised an eyebrow, hands on her hips. "You do know my bakery is hidden on the tiniest street corner ever, right? Nobody just passes by. Admit it, you like my donuts." Elliot paused before replying. "They're edible." "Edible?" Lana gasped in mock outrage and turned to Mr. Henry. "Did you hear that? Edible. Yet he's here every day. This man's impossible to please." Mr. Henry let out a belly laugh, slapping the counter. "Sweet girl, let me tell you something. If a man keeps coming back to the same place, it's not the pastries he's after, it's the girl behind the counter." Elliot coughed lightly, unsure how to respond. "I just like consistency," he said stiffly. "One donut." Lana wrapped it and handed it over. "All right, Mr. Consistent, but if you show up again tomorrow, I'm making you try our freshly baked butter cookies. No takebacks." Elliot took the bag, nodded, and left. But this time, Lana noticed he walked just a little slower and glanced back at the bakery before vanishing around the corner. On the 5th day, Elliot returned like clockwork. Lana was ready, holding a special donut topped with a tiny swirl of vanilla cream. "A gift for our VIP," she declared. "Free vanilla cream, thank you for being our most loyal customer of the week." Becca, stacking pastries nearby, added teasingly, "Lana, are you planning to bribe him with sweets forever? Careful, or he'll stop buying and start proposing." Lana shot her a playful glare but couldn't hide her laugh. "Becca, don't scare him off. He's only here for the donuts, right?" She turned to Elliot with a wink. Elliot looked at the donut, then at Lana. "I'm not a VIP, he said in his usual cold tone, but softer somehow. "And I don't even like sweets." "Don't like sweets?" Lana's jaw dropped in mock shock. "Then why do you keep buying donuts? For decoration? Come on, tell the truth. What do you actually like? Black coffee? Tea? Or just plain water like a true icy gentleman?" Elliot's lips curved slightly, a barely there smile that made both Lana and Becca exchange stunned glances. "Black tea. No sugar," he said. "Black tea, no sugar," Lana repeated, shaking her head. "You are officially the most boring man on earth. All right, tomorrow I'll make you tea, but in return, you have to tell me why you keep buying that same donut. Deal?" Elliot didn't answer immediately. He just took the bag, nodded, and turned to leave, his steps slower than usual. That evening, Lana and Becca sat in the bakery after closing, munching on leftover pastries. "Did you see him today?" Lana grinned. "Same donut every single day. I bet he's not even eating them. And yet, I keep hoping he'll show up again." Becca winked. "It's the eyes, right? You like his sad eyes. Come on, Lana, dig a little deeper. I bet he's not just some random guy. Look at that suit." Lana laughed. "I just think he's strange, but in a fun way. Do you think he'll come back tomorrow? If he keeps showing up, he's either in love with your pastries or he's falling for the baker." Becca teased, making them both laugh. Meanwhile, in his cold penthouse, Elliot placed the donut on his kitchen counter just like every day. He didn't eat it, but he kept each one, as if they were his excuse to return to that little bakery. Lana's laughter, her teasing voice, and even Becca's curious gaze echoed in his mind. He told himself it was just on the way, but deep down, a part of him knew he was searching for something more. Sugar and Bloom glowed with warm, yellow lights, filled with the comforting aroma of toasted bread and freshly brewed coffee. Outside the window, a light rain fell, coating the narrow street in a thin mist, prompting a few hurried customers to duck in for shelter. Lana Brooks, in her flour-dusted pale blue apron, was busy wiping down the counter, humming along with the acoustic tunes playing from a small speaker. Her best friend Becca sat in the corner of the shop scrolling on her phone, occasionally teasing Lana about her VIP customer. It had been over a week since Elliot Vale started stopping by the bakery every morning, and Lana had grown used to the cheerful jingle of the doorbell right at 8:30 a.m. Right on cue, the bell chimed, and Elliot walked in, his light gray suit still neat, though his brown hair was slightly damp from the rain. Lana looked up, and her smile lit up the room like sunshine breaking through the drizzle. "Hey, Mr. Donut," she called out, setting the rag aside. "Rainy morning and you're still here. Aren't you worried about ruining that fancy suit? Or did you come just to show off the new look?" Elliot paused, brushing a few raindrops off his shoulder, a flicker of awkwardness in his eyes. "I had an umbrella," he replied, his deep voice no longer as stiff as before. "And I'm not showing off, just buying a donut." Becca chuckled from her corner. "Lana, you're embarrassing the man. He probably just wants to grab his donut and escape the rain." Lana folded her arms, pretending to be serious. "Escape the rain? Becca, the man shows up rain or shine, I'm telling you. He's addicted to my donuts." "Right, wait, what's your name again?" "I can't keep calling you Mr. Mistaken Hug forever." Elliot raised an eyebrow, the corner of his mouth twitching as if suppressing a smile. "Elliot," he said evenly, "Elliot Vale, and I'm not addicted to your pastries." "Elliot Vale," Lana repeated, nodding. "Sounds classy, but seriously, Elliot, buying the same donut every single day. You're not addicted? Then what? Hoarding them?" Becca chimed in with a giggle. "Maybe he uses them as pillow props at night. With a face that serious, he's probably super lonely." Elliot glanced at Becca, but instead of taking offense, he simply cleared his throat. "I like consistency," he said, his eyes flicking back to Lana. "One sugar donut, like always." Lana shook her head, retrieving the usual donut from the rack, but this time she also set down a small cup of black tea. "Today I'm keeping my promise. Black tea, no sugar, but in exchange, you have to answer one of my silly questions. Deal?" Elliot reached for the cup, his fingers brushing lightly against hers. They both paused for a split second, but Lana quickly masked it with a grin. "Here's your question. Why do you keep buying this donut? And don't say consistency. I'm not buying that." Elliot looked down at the tea, then back at Lana, his gaze unexpectedly soft. "It's simple. I don't like complicated things." "Simple?" Lana laughed and turned to Becca. "Did you hear that? He just called my donuts simple. Elliot, you just insulted my masterpiece. That dough took over an hour to prep, you know." Becca winked. "Lana, stop bullying him. He's our VIP. You have to treat him nicely." "VIP, my foot," Lana said, laughing as she wrapped the donut and handed it to Elliot. "But hey, if you like simple things, why not try one of my butter cookies? They're even simpler than donuts, I swear." Elliot took the bag, his voice dry but his eyes twinkling faintly. "Maybe next time." He turned to leave, but this time he paused at the door and glanced back at her. "Thanks for the tea." Lana blinked, surprised by the rare thank you. Well, you do know how to say thank you. That's progress. Come back tomorrow, I'll have another silly question waiting." The next day, the rain still drizzled down, but the bakery was busier than usual. Mr. Henry, an elderly regular, sat at his usual corner table with a fresh loaf of bread, chatting with Lana about the weather. "Young lady," he chuckled, "rain like this and your shop's still full, you've got a gift." When Elliot walked in, Lana lit up. "Mr. Henry, look, my VIP has arrived." "Elliot, what'll it be today? Sticking with the donut, or are you brave enough to try my butter cookies?" Elliot, his hair slightly damp from forgetting his umbrella, shook his head. "Donut. And yesterday you said something about this place. What is Sugar and Bloom exactly?" Lana's eyes lit up as she leaned on the counter. "Ooh, finally a real question. Sugar and Bloom is my childhood dream. My mom used to say that baking is how you make people smile. It's like flowers blooming in the middle of winter." "Yeah, it's cheesy, but I love it. What about you, Elliot? What do you do that keeps you checking your watch all the time?" Becca, arranging pastries nearby, jumped in. "I bet he's some big shot CEO. Just look at that watch, probably worth more than a month of our rent." Elliot raised an eyebrow but didn't deny it. I work in tech, he said shortly, and I'm not busy, just scheduled. Scheduled? Lana burst out laughing. You're totally one of those people who lives by the clock. Be honest, do you ever do anything spontaneous? Like, eat a donut off schedule? Elliot accepted the bag from her, his expression unreadable except for the rare trace of mischief in his eyes. Meeting you is spontaneous enough. Lana's jaw dropped, then she burst out laughing. Whoa! Elliot Vale, did you just make a joke? Becca, Mr. Henry, did you hear that? He joked. Mr. Henry chuckled, lifting his bread like a toast. You've cracked him open, sweetheart. Keep it up, your bakery's not just serving pastries anymore. It's serving love. Elliot cleared his throat, clearly unused to the attention. I'm not open, he said, but the small smile tugging at his lips betrayed him. Thanks for the pastry and the tea. Lana winked. Come back tomorrow. I've got something new for you to try. No saying no. That night after closing time, Lana and Becca sat in the shop, munching leftover cookies and laughing together. Did you see him today? Lana said, eyes gleaming. He smiled, and he answered my silly question seriously. But Becca, the man eats like a monk black tea, no sugar. Becca raised a brow. Girl, you're watching him way too closely. Careful, you might be falling for real. But seriously, I still say he's some kind of CEO. You can just tell from the way he walks. Lana giggled, shaking her head. CEO or not, he's kind of adorable. In a weird, mysterious way. Do you think he'll come back tomorrow? If he doesn't love your cookies by now, he definitely loves you, Becca teased, making them both laugh out loud. Meanwhile, in his cold penthouse, Elliot placed the donut on the kitchen counter next to the others. He picked up the cup of tea Lana had brewed, took a sip, and the corner of his lips curved ever so slightly. Her laughter, her silly questions. The cozy warmth of the bakery, it all echoed in his mind. He didn't quite know why he kept returning, but for the first time in years, his day wasn't just about work anymore. The Vale Tech high-rise glowed against the city skyline, its 30th floor home to the space where Elliot Vale spent most of his time. The office was sleek and modern glass walls, polished wood desks, and financial data running endlessly across widescreen monitors. It was nearly 8 p.m. The halls were quiet, only a few employees still working late. Elliot, sleeves rolled up on his crisp white shirt, sat before his computer, the bluish screen glow casting shadows on his stoic face. But tonight, the usual atmosphere was about to be disrupted by an unexpected visitor. A knock echoed through the corridor and in walked Lana Brooks, holding a box of homemade pizza, the scent of cheese and tomatoes trailing behind her. Dressed in a bright yellow sweater with her hair tied high, her smile shone like sunlight after rain. Evening, Mr. Donut, she chirped, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. I brought you a thank you gift for buying from me 10 days in a row. Fresh pizza, homemade. No way you're turning this down. Elliot looked up, visibly surprised. What are you doing here? He asked, his voice low but laced with confusion. And pizza? Lana placed the box on the conference table and opened it, revealing a golden crust with gooey, bubbling cheese. That's right. You can't live on black tea and uneaten donuts forever. Try this. I swear it's better than any $1,000,000 contract you've ever signed. From across the room, Sarah, Elliot's assistant, peeked her head out, eyes wide. Boss, did she just say pizza? She turned to Lana, beaming. Are you an angel or something? He never eats dinner here. Lana winked. Not an angel, but I'm Lana from Sugar and Bloom, and I bet he's going to eat. Right, Elliot? Elliot frowned, the corner of his mouth twitching. I am not hungry, he replied, though his eyes betrayed him, lingering on the steaming pizza like they'd been caught by its aroma. Oh, please, Lana scoffed, pulling out a chair and sitting across from him. Sarah, come join us. I made too much. Nobody's going home on an empty stomach. Sarah didn't need to be told twice. She quickly pulled in Tom, an IT guy working late. You're a lifesaver, Tom exclaimed, grabbing a slice. Boss, you have to try this. I've never seen real food in this office before. Elliot shook his head, but eventually he picked up a slice and took a bite. Sarah and Tom fell into stunned silence as their famously cold CEO smiled. Just a small one, but enough to brighten the entire room. It's good, Elliot said a little awkwardly. I can't remember the last time I ate like this. Lana clapped her hands, grinning. See? Told you so. Homemade pizza always wins. Now tell me, what do you usually eat? And don't say black tea with no sugar. I'll be so disappointed. Sarah chimed in, mouthful of pizza. Miss Lana, I'm not even kidding. He only eats cold sandwiches or convenience store salads. His food life is as bleak as this office. Lana gasped dramatically, turning to Elliot. Cold sandwiches? Elliot, you're a millionaire and you eat like a boarding school student? Come on, what did you eat growing up? Anything more fun? Elliot held the slice, his expression momentarily distant. When I was a kid, my mom used to make roast beef sandwiches. Nothing fancy, but warm. He paused, his voice lowering. She died when I was young. My father didn't cook. It was just my grandmother Amelia who baked sometimes. Lana tilted her head, her gaze softening. Your grandma sounds amazing. I bet her baking was even better than mine. She smiled. When I was a kid, we were broke. My mom used leftover flour to make these flat little pizzas, no fancy cheese, just tomato and herbs. But we'd sit together, laughing so loud. Ever had that kind of dinner? Elliot looked at her, and something in his gaze melted slightly. Not often. After my mom passed, those meals disappeared. My grandma tried, but she was busy too. Tom, devouring his slice, piped in. Boss, how are you not inviting your grandma to eat pizza with Lana? I bet she'd love her. Lana laughed and pointed at Tom. Great idea. Elliot, bring Grandma Amelia to the shop sometime. I'll make pizza for both of you. But you have to tell me what made her so special. Elliot took a sip of the tea Lana had brought. His voice was softer now. She's the only person I've ever truly trusted. She always told me I should smile more, but I've never been good at that. Lana winked, sliding the box closer to him. Well, you're doing pretty great tonight. Right, Sarah? Tom, that's 2 smiles in one evening. That's a record. Sarah nodded enthusiastically. Miss Lana, you're a miracle worker. I've worked here for 3 years and haven't seen him smile this much ever. Elliot shook his head, but the smile remained on his lips. You talk a lot, he said, glancing at Lana. But thank you for the pizza and this. Lana leaned her chin on her hand, eyes glinting. This? You mean fun? Joy? Elliot, you've got to admit eating pizza with me is way better than staring at spreadsheets. Elliot didn't respond right away, but his eyes softened. Maybe, he said, taking another bite of pizza. Later that evening, after everyone had left, Elliot and Lana remained in the conference room. Only a few slices were left in the box. Lana told stories from her childhood, running barefoot through alleyways, snacking on her mom's cookies, singing nonsense songs with her sisters. We didn't have much, she said, her eyes gleaming, but it was always noisy, always happy. She looked at Elliot. What about you? Besides your grandmother, did anyone ever make you laugh? Elliot's expression flickered with a trace of old hurt. Not many. My father only cared about money. After my mom, there wasn't anyone close. Just Grandma. You're different. You make people laugh like it's easy. Lana smiled, her voice gentler now. It's not hard, Elliot. You just have to want to. Tonight you made this whole office smile. That's something. Elliot chuckled clearer this time. You're strange, but not bad. Lana clapped, laughing. Was that a compliment? I'll take it. Stop by the bakery tomorrow. I'll bake you butter cookies. Let's see if you give out more compliments then. When Lana left, Sarah and Tom stood whispering in the hallway. She made the boss smile, Sarah whispered, eyes wide. I swear Lana might actually change him. Tom nodded. If he's eating pizza, anything is possible. Inside the conference room, Elliot stared at the empty pizza box, a soft curve still on his lips. For the first time in years, an evening hadn't been about meetings or numbers, but about warmth, like the dinners his mother used to make. Lana, with her laugh and stories, had unknowingly thawed something frozen deep inside him. The city park gleamed under the afternoon sun, with lush green trees swaying in the breeze. mingled with children's laughter and the tempting scent of street food. As sunset approached, the nearby night market flickered to life. Colorful stalls lighting up, music blasting, and the smell of grilled skewers filling the air. Lana Brooks, wearing a bright yellow sweater and jeans, practically skipped into the park with a cotton candy in hand. Beside her walked Elliot Vale out of his usual suit for the first time, wearing a rolled-up dress shirt and slacks, looking like someone freshly dragged out of a boardroom. "Elliot, are you sure you didn't cancel a meeting just to walk with me?" Lana teased, holding up her cotton candy. "I don't want your entire company suing me for kidnapping their boss." Elliot glanced at her, the corner of his mouth lifting. "I rescheduled one meeting. No one's suing anyone. Don't worry." His voice was still low, but carried a softness that hadn't been there before. Lana gasped, mock-shocked. "Rescheduled? Elliot Vale, you rebel." "Okay, today no schedules, no bodyguards, just fun. Are you ready?" Elliot furrowed his brows, but his eyes gleamed with a flicker of curiosity. "Fun? What exactly are you making me do?" Lana burst into laughter and tugged at his sleeve, pulling him toward a food stall. "Eat first. No pizza today. Tonight we're doing grilled rice paper. Ever had one?" Elliot shook his head, eyeing the crispy rice paper sizzling over charcoal, topped with cheese and scallions. "It looks strange," he said doubtfully. "Strange but delicious." Lana winked, offering him a piece. "Come on, take a bite, don't overthink it. If you hate it, I'll pay for it." In the distance, a group of kids were playing ring toss near the edge of the park, their laughter catching Lana's attention. She turned to Elliot, eyes shining. "After this, we're playing ring toss. I bet you're terrible at it." Elliot bit into the rice paper, brow raised in surprise. "It's better than I expected," he admitted. Lana clapped it triumphant. "Told you, come on, Mr. CEO, show off those skills. Land a ring, and I'll throw in more cotton candy." The ring toss booth was lively, an elderly vendor cheering the kids on. "Throw harder, kids," he called out, then grinned at Elliot. "Hey, handsome, want to try? Win that teddy bear for your girlfriend over there." Lana laughed, waving her hands. "Oh no, he's not my boyfriend. Just my VIP bakery customer." Elliot shot her a look, then grabbed a plastic ring, standing stiff like he was about to sign a contract. He threw and missed by a mile. The kids burst out laughing, and Lana clapped mockingly. "Oh, wow, Elliot. It's like you're afraid to actually hit the bottle. Try again, I'll give you one more chance." Elliot sighed and tried again, still awkward, but closer this time. A little boy about 8 years old ran up to him with a grin. "Mister, aim higher. I'll show you," the boy said, handing him another ring. Elliot flushed a bit but nodded, taking the ring. Lana stood beside him, cheering. "You can do it, Elliot. Imagine the bottle is your biggest competitor." She winked, and Elliot smiled a real, rare, warm smile. After a few more tries, Elliot finally landed a ring on a bottle. The crowd of kids cheered, and Lana clapped as if he'd just won a Nobel Prize. "Yes, I knew you had it in you," she laughed, raising her hand for a high five. "Now, do you want your prize in cotton candy or that teddy bear?" Elliot shook his head, his gaze softening as it landed on her. "I don't need the bear, but you can keep the cotton candy. It suits you better." Lana blinked, her heart skipping a beat, but she quickly covered it with a loud laugh. "Was that a compliment? Careful, or I'll make you play another game." As the sky darkened, they wandered into the bustling night market. Bright stalls lined the streets, music blared from a small street stage, and a group of people gathered for open-air karaoke. Lana stopped in her tracks, her eyes sparkling. "Elliot, have you ever done karaoke? Street karaoke is so fun." Elliot tensed, clearly uncomfortable. "Karaoke? I don't do things like that." Lana grabbed his sleeve. "No backing out. One song with me. Just one. If you're terrible, I promise not to laugh." From the crowd, a young woman named Mai waved a mic. "Hey, you two, come sing. We're waiting for a duet." She handed the mic to Lana and winked. "Girl, drag that handsome guy up there. Don't let this moment pass." Lana laughed and shoved the mic into Elliot's hand. "See? No escape. Want to pick a song, or should I choose something fun?" Elliot held the mic like it might explode. "You're serious?" he asked, but his eyes no longer looked annoyed. Just curious. Lana picked a cheerful pop song, and as the music began, she launched into it with bright energy and a clear, confident voice. The crowd clapped and cheered. At first, Elliot just stood there stiff as a statue, but gradually he joined in his deep voice, a little offbeat but full of effort. Lana laughed louder and sang bolder, drawing him in. They stood close, passing the mic back and forth, her laughter mixing with his bass notes, turning heads in the crowd. From below the stage, Mai shouted, "You two are perfect together! Encore! Encore!" The crowd erupted into applause. Lana shot Elliot a grin, as if they'd known each other forever. When the song ended, Lana clapped and turned to him. "See? That wasn't bad at all. I bet the whole night market will remember our performance." Elliot shook his head, but his smile was brighter than ever. "You are exhausting," he said, but his eyes were soft, looking at her like she was the most surprising thing that had ever happened to him. As they left the night market, Lana munched on a grilled skewer, chatting as they strolled. "When I was little, I used to come to these night markets with my mom. We didn't have money for much, but just one skewer made the whole day feel magical. Ever do anything like this?" Elliot walked beside her, his gaze drifting over the market lights. "Not really. I wasn't used to places like this. But tonight wasn't bad." Lana smiled, heart fluttering just a little, but she shook her head, telling herself it was just fun. "Not bad? Elliot, that's the best you've got? Tomorrow, come by the bakery. I'll make you something new. You'll see there's way more color to life than spreadsheets." Elliot looked at her, his gaze unusually gentle. "Maybe," he said, and this time, he walked just a little slower, as if wanting to stretch the moment with her a little longer. Still following the story? If this story found you outside of Soul Stories, we invite you home to where every touching tale begins with truth, hope, and heart. The hospital room was softly lit, a blend of antiseptic and the sweet scent of pastries filling the air, thanks to the box of treats Lana had brought. Amelia Vale, Elliot's grandmother, lay in the hospital bed, her silver hair neatly tied back, her sharp eyes sparkling despite her recent health scare. The small room felt warmer with the presence of cupcakes and cookies from Sugar and Bloom, all carefully arranged on the bedside table by Lana. Wearing a green sweater and jeans, Lana chatted animatedly, her cheerful storytelling chasing away the sterile coldness of the hospital. Elliot stood nearby, sleeves rolled up, his expression serious but his eyes noticeably gentler when they rested on Lana. "All right, Grandma Amelia," Lana said, holding up a chocolate cupcake. "I made this one just for you, cream cheese frosting. Not too sweet, so no worrying about blood sugar." She winked, placing the cupcake gently into Amelia's hands. Amelia chuckled, her eyes glowing. "You, my dear, are a treasure. Bringing sweets like these into a hospital? You'll have the doctors kicking you out for making the patients too happy." She turned to Elliot, teasing. "Elliot, why didn't you tell me such a lovely young lady visits your bakery every day?" Elliot cleared his throat, one hand in his pocket, clearly not used to being teased in front of Lana. I just buy pastries," he said in his usual low tone, though a hint of embarrassment crept in. "She's good at baking." Lana laughed and sat in the chair by the bed. "Just good? Elliot, you've got to hype me up better than that. Grandma Amelia, tell me, was he always this serious as a kid? Or did he ever eat cake without looking like it was a business meeting?" Amelia grinned, setting her cupcake down, eyes dancing. "Oh, he was a rascal when he was little. Once he snuck off with the neighbor's entire birthday cake, ate a corner, and blamed it on the dog. His mother laughed so hard she cried. His father? Not so much." Lana gasped, turning to Elliot, eyes wide. "You stole cake? Elliot, you had a wild childhood. Come on, Grandma, give me more. Any other embarrassing stories?" Elliot shook his head, but a small smile tugged at his lips. "Grandma, stop. I wasn't that bad." "Not that bad," Amelia laughed, patting the bed. "Lana, let me tell you, one time he wore a Superman cape, jumped off the couch thinking he could fly, broke his arm, cried his heart out, but still demanded a new cape." Lana burst into laughter, holding her stomach. "Superman? Oh my gosh, Elliot, I need photographic evidence. If you wore a cape now, your whole company would have a meltdown. Elliot gave her a mock-serious look. If you tell anyone, I'll stop buying your pastries. Stop buying pastries? Lana clutched her heart, mock-horrified. She turned to Amelia. Did you hear that, Grandma? He's threatening to abandon my bakery. You've got to defend me. Amelia chuckled, taking Lana's hand warmly. Don't worry, dear. If he stops going to your bakery, I'll make him buy double. But Lana, I must thank you. I haven't seen him smile this much in a long, long time. Lana blinked, slightly flustered, then quickly recovered with her usual cheekiness. Smile? Grandma, he only did that little lip twitch. That doesn't count. I'll just have to bake more until he laughs out loud. Elliot shook his head, but the smile lingered on his lips. You talk a lot, he said softly, but your pastries make her happy. Thank you. Lana winked and got up to fetch another cookie for Amelia. No thanks needed, Superman. If Grandma's smiling, I'm satisfied. By the time they left the hospital, the sky had turned dark, streetlights casting a golden glow over the damp sidewalk. Lana walked beside Elliot, their pace relaxed. She reached up to adjust his jacket collar, her fingers brushing his hand. He didn't say it, but his heart skipped a beat. You cold? She asked, voice warm. That shirt's too thin, you'll catch a cold. I'm fine, Elliot replied quietly. You don't have to worry. Lana shrugged, smiling. Who's worried? I just don't want my best customer getting sick. And your grandma, she's adorable. You're lucky to have her. Elliot nodded, gaze drifting. She's the only one who's always been there. You made her laugh. That matters to me. Lana paused, looking at him gently. Well, you made her laugh too. You smiled more today than usual, I noticed. Elliot didn't respond, but his eyes softened, as if trying to hold on to the moment. From the hospital window, Amelia watched them walking together, a smile playing on her lips. On the ride home, Amelia reached for Elliot's hand, her voice gentle but firm. Elliot, I saw the way that girl makes you smile. You laugh more because of her. Don't let her slip away before it's too late. Elliot froze slightly, eyes flickering. She's just a baker. Amelia chuckled, patting his hand. A baker who gets you to visit a hospital with a smile on your face? Don't lie to me, boy. Your heart knows better than that. Elliot didn't respond, but her words planted something in him. He stared out the window, Lana's radiant smile, her teasing voice, and the way she gently fixed his collar, replaying over and over in his mind. That night in her cozy apartment, Lana told Becca everything over the phone. You wouldn't believe how sweet Grandma Amelia is, Lana laughed. She told me Elliot used to be a wild child stealing cakes and playing superhero. But she also said he's been smiling more because of me. Do you think that's true? Becca let out a loud laugh on the other end. Lana, it's totally true. He looks at you like you're the only sunshine in his gloomy little world. Careful, you might be falling for real. Lana laughed, sprawling out on the couch. Falling? Nah, I just like making Grandma Amelia smile. But, yeah, his smile today. Kinda cute. Back in his cold penthouse, Elliot lay in bed, restless. Lana's laughter, her teasing voice, and his grandmother's words echoed in his mind. He turned over the Sugar and Bloom business card sitting on his nightstand, rereading the handwritten line. Come visit, stranger. For the first time, he began to wonder if maybe he was searching for something more than just a donut each day. Sugar and Bloom still glowed with its signature warm yellow lights, but today the atmosphere was noticeably subdued. Lana Brooks, wearing her flower-dusted pale blue apron, stood quietly behind the counter, arranging cookies on the display rack without her usual sparkle. Outside the window, the narrow street was nearly empty, save for a few pedestrians walking under the light drizzle. Becca, Lana's best friend, sat at the bar sipping coffee while watching her with concern. It had been 2 days since Lana started avoiding Elliot Vale, the man who had once stopped by every morning like clockwork. The familiar chime of the bell over the door now only stirred a dull ache in her chest. Lana, you've got that funeral face again, Becca said, setting down her cup. The shop's still busy, the pastries are still amazing, but you're moving around like a ghost. This about Mr. Graysuit, isn't it? Lana sighed and paused, wiping the counter. Don't bring him up, Becca. I don't want to see him right now. He didn't come in today, did he? Becca raised an eyebrow, resting her chin in her palm. He didn't. But I'd bet anything he'll come back. Why are you avoiding him? At the hospital, you made his grandma laugh so hard she cried, and he looked at you like you were his whole world. What's going on with you? Lana sank into a chair, eyes avoiding Becca's. I'm just scared. He's a CEO, Becca. A man from a world of luxury, million-dollar deals. I'm just a girl who bakes donuts on a quiet street corner. What if I'm just a strange little detour in his life? I don't want to get hurt. Becca's tone turned serious, a rare shift. Lana, listen to me. If you love him, don't run. If you care about him, face it. But if you're planning to heal him and then disappear, that's the cruelest thing you could do. Don't let him think you care, and then walk away like it meant nothing. Lana bit her lip, eyes clouded. Love? I don't know anymore. I just know it feels good when I'm with him. But what if he's not serious? I don't want to be a passing moment in his life. Becca reached out, placing a firm hand on her shoulder. You're not a passing moment. You make him laugh. You made his grandma happy. You shocked his entire office by getting him to eat pizza. You're Lana Brooks, the girl who makes the world brighter. If he doesn't see that, he's an idiot. But I think he does. Lana smiled faintly, though her eyes were still filled with worry. You always say the right thing, Becca. But I need time. I don't want to rush into something and regret it. At the towering Vailtech building, Elliot sat in his office, the glow from the monitor casting a cool light on his face. But his focus was elsewhere. On his desk sat a sugar-dusted donut brought by his assistant, Sarah, from Sugar and Bloom, as requested. It had been 2 days. 2 days since Lana stopped replying to his texts, and since she'd been absent from the shop whenever he stopped by. He glanced at his phone, rereading the message he'd sent that morning. Are you okay? I want to see you. Sarah knocked, then entered with a cup of coffee. Boss, you're staring at that donut like it's about to talk to you, she teased, sitting across from him. What's going on with Miss Lana? I stopped by the shop today, she smiled, but it wasn't the same. Did you do something? Elliot frowned slightly. His voice was low. I didn't do anything. She just won't respond. Sarah raised her brows, smirking. She's ghosting you? Seriously? You're a CEO letting a bakery girl spin you in circles? She leaned forward. Send another message. Make it romantic. Romantic? Elliot repeated like it was a word from a foreign language. I don't know how to do that. Sarah laughed, slapping the desk playfully. Then just be honest. Lana doesn't strike me as the poetic type anyway. You like her, don't you? Then say that. Let her know she's not just some pastry pit stop. Elliot said nothing, his gaze drifting back to the donut. He thought about Lana's smile, the way she made Amelia laugh, how she had dragged him through moments he never thought he'd live. He picked up his phone and typed, I don't want a passing moment, I want you. He hit send. His heart beat faster than usual. Sarah, catching the action, grinned. Now that's more like it. Let's just hope she writes back, and you've got yourself a win. That evening in her small apartment, Lana curled up on the couch with a pillow hugged to her chest, eyes locked on her phone. The screen lit up with Elliot's message. I don't want a passing moment. I want you. Her heart tightened, stirred by emotion, but trembling with fear. She read it over and over, her thumb hovering over the screen, unable to type a reply. Becca walked in with a bag of late-night snacks and spotted the look on Lana's face. Oh no, why are you staring at your phone like it's about to explode? She dropped the bag and snatched the phone. Oh my God, Lana, he said this? And you're just sitting here with a pillow? He says he needs you. That's serious. Lana bit her lip, voice trembling. But what if I'm wrong? What if it's just temporary? I don't want to open my heart just to have it shattered again, Becca. Becca sighed, placing a hand on her friend's shoulder. Listen to me. I get why you're scared. Everyone's scared when they start falling for someone. But this guy, he showed up every single day. He ate pizza with you, sang karaoke, visited the hospital. If that's not serious, I don't know what is. Lana looked at her, eyes glistening. What should I do? Becca winked, handing back the phone. Text him back. Doesn't have to be a novel. Just be real. You don't have to decide your whole future tonight, but don't let fear steal this moment. Lana took the phone, her fingers trembling. She typed, I don't want to be a passing moment either, but I need time, okay? She hit send, her heart pounding as if she'd just taken her first step into something unknown. In his cold penthouse, Elliot stared at the screen, reading Lana's message. Relief washed over him, mixed with nerves. He wasn't used to this feeling, wanting someone, fearing he might lose her. He thought of her laugh, the way she lit up a room, how she brought color into his gray life. For the first time, he didn't want to be just a customer at her bakery, he wanted to stay. And across the city, Lana hugged her pillow tighter, the edges of her lips curving into a tiny smile. Elliot's message was a flicker of light through her fear, a reminder that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't just a passing moment in his life. Rain poured down on the city like a curtain of water, turning the suburban roads into glistening rivers beneath the glow of car headlights. Thunder rumbled in the distance, mixing with the pounding of rain on Lana's car roof. Her aging vehicle, already coughing and sputtering for weeks, finally gave out in the middle of the storm. Lana sat inside, soaked in her yellow sweater, hair plastered to her forehead, gripping her phone as it lit up with a message she just sent to Becca. Car's dead. I'm stuck in the rain. What do I do? She stared out the fogged-up window, her heart heavy not just from the rain, but from the storm of emotions that had been building inside her. Thoughts of Elliot Vale spun through her mind, his messages, the way he looked at her, and her own fear of what it all might mean. Back at the towering Vale Tech building, Elliot sat in his office, the bluish glow of the monitor flickering across his tense face. A message had just arrived, sent by Becca. Lana's stuck in the rain. Car broke down on Maple Street. Can you help? Without hesitation, Elliot grabbed his keys and left his suit jacket behind. Sarah, his assistant, looked up, eyes wide as he rushed past. Boss, where are you going? It's pouring outside. Let the driver take you. No need, Elliot replied sharply, already halfway out the door. I'm going myself. No umbrella, no driver. Just one thought on repeat in his mind. Find Lana. On Maple Street, Lana sat shivering, trying one last time to start the engine. Nothing. She let out a frustrated sigh and leaned her head against the steering wheel. Great, stuck in a storm. What else could possibly go wrong, she muttered, trying to stay calm, but her heart was racing. For 2 days she'd avoided Elliot. His messages had gone unanswered. Becca's words echoed in her mind. She was scared to open up, scared of being just a phase in his glamorous life. Suddenly, headlights flashed through the downpour. A black SUV pulled up beside her, and she squinted through the foggy glass. The door opened, and there he was. Elliot stepped out into the storm, white shirt drenched, hair dripping onto his forehead. But his eyes held only one thing: purpose. Lana, he called out, voice rising above the sound of the rain. Are you okay? Lana pushed open her car door and stepped into the downpour, rain soaking through her clothes instantly. Elliot, what are you doing here? She shouted, half in disbelief. It's pouring. Why didn't you send your driver? Elliot moved closer, not caring that he was soaked through. I didn't need a driver. You were stuck. I had to come. His eyes were gentle yet firm. Get in my car. You're freezing. Lana blinked, water running down her cheeks like tears. But she didn't move. You drove across the city in the storm. For me? Elliot, are you crazy? What if you got sick? Elliot stepped even closer. I don't care, he said, voice low but unwavering. You matter more. Lana stared at him, heart pounding. And suddenly, without warning, tears spilled down her cheeks, mixing with the rain. Elliot, she whispered, voice trembling. You didn't have to do this. I'm just a baker. Elliot didn't hesitate. He pulled her into his arms. The hug was firm, grounding warm in the middle of the cold storm. This time, I'm not mistaken, Lana, he said, his voice shaking slightly but filled with certainty. You're not just a baker. You're the one I need. Lana stood frozen in his embrace, then slowly, her arms wrapped around him too. Despite the rain, despite her fears, she smiled. You're such an idiot, she whispered, but I need you too. They stayed there, wrapped in each other, soaked to the bone, but neither one moved. Just the sound of rain and the echo of two hearts finally finding their rhythm. Lana felt the wall around her heart crumble, replaced by a safety she hadn't known she'd been craving. Back in Lana's cozy apartment, after they'd both changed into dry clothes, they sat curled on the couch, warm mugs of tea in hand. Lana was wrapped in a blanket, hair still damp, but her usual smile had returned. "You know," she teased, "I never thought a CEO would drive across town in a storm to rescue me." Her voice softened. "You really are Superman, just like Grandma Amelia said." Elliot chuckled, holding his tea. His eyes didn't leave her face. "I'm no Superman, but I couldn't let you sit alone in the rain." Lana leaned in slightly playful. "So if I get caught in the rain again, you'll come rescue me too? Careful, I might intentionally break my car next time." Elliot smiled, brighter than she'd ever seen. "If you do, I'll buy out your whole bakery in revenge." Lana laughed, but warmth bloomed in her chest. "Elliot, thank you, really. I was scared. But you make me want to believe in this." She pointed to her heart, her voice soft. Elliot set his mug down and reached for her hand gently but firmly. "I'm not great with words, but I'm serious, Lana. I don't want this to be temporary. I want you beside me, not just today." Lana looked into his eyes, clear, raw, honest, and smiled. "Okay, Superman, but tomorrow you have to stop by the shop. I baked something new just for you. No skipping allowed." That night, Becca called, voice bursting with energy. "Lana, are you okay? Sarah told me your CEO ran into a storm to get you. Spill everything what happened?" Lana lay stretched out on the couch, phone to her ear, grinning. "He came for me, Becca, drenched, soaked like something out of a movie, and I cried like a total mess. But I think I really like him. A lot." Becca screamed over the line. "I knew it. You two are straight-up storm-swept soulmates. No more running fall for him, Lana. Do it." In his penthouse, Elliot sat by the window, watching the city lights shimmer through the rain. His phone lit up with a message from Sarah. "Boss, you're officially a knight in shining armor. Did she say anything?" He didn't reply. He just smiled to himself, thinking about that moment in the rain, the look in Lana's eyes, the way she held him back. For the first time in his life, his heart didn't feel alone anymore. The grand ballroom of the Grand Meridian Hotel sparkled under towering crystal chandeliers. The soft clinking of wine glasses blended with lively chatter as Vailtech's annual media event reached its peak. Investors, reporters, and celebrities mingled beneath the golden lights. At the center of it all, standing on stage in a sharp black suit, was Elliot Vale. His posture was poised, his eyes sharp, but they no longer carried that glacial coldness from months before. Tonight, however, the spotlight was about to shift to someone completely unexpected. Standing at the edge of the room was Lana Brooks, dressed in a simple yet elegant teal dress. Her curly hair was tied loosely, and her smile shone like morning sunlight. She clutched her glass of orange juice just a bit too tightly, trying to hide her nerves. "If I spill this, I swear it'll be on every news site in the city," she muttered under her breath. Beside her, Becca, dazzling in a bold red dress, snorted, trying not to laugh. "Relax. You're the CEO's guest. Who's going to say anything? And just look at him. He keeps glancing this way. I bet he's planning something outrageous." On stage, Elliot wrapped up a confident speech about Vailtech's latest innovations. His deep voice held the room effortlessly. But then he paused, scanning the crowd until his eyes found Lana. "And before I close," he said, his voice softer but crystal clear, "I'd like to introduce someone very special. Lana Brooks, the woman who made my life brighter." For a moment, the entire room fell silent. Then came the murmurs. Then the flashbulbs. Every camera swiveled toward Lana. She blinked, stunned, and turned to Becca with wide eyes. "What did he just say? Becca! Becca, I want to vanish. Now!" Becca pushed her gently forward, grinning ear to ear. "Go, Stargirl. The whole world's watching." Lana stepped onto the stage, knees a bit shaky, but smile still intact. She stopped beside Elliot and whispered, "Elliot, are you crazy? Why'd you call me up here? I bake pastries, I don't give speeches. He chuckled softly, a rare sound that stirred whispers across the room. You do better than you think, he murmured, just loud enough for the mic to catch. Everyone, Lana doesn't just make the best donuts in the city. She's the reason I've started smiling more. She's my someone special. The applause was thunderous. Flashbulbs fired like fireworks. A few reporters shouted over the crowd. Miss Brooks, how do you know Mr. Vale? Are you the secret behind the CEO's sudden change? Lana laughed, raising a hand to calm them down. Hey now, easy with the headlines, she said playfully. I'm just a girl who sells pastries at Sugar and Bloom. As for how I met him, well, he hugged the wrong woman at the train station, and I gave him a donut. That's it. The room burst into laughter. Elliot shook his head, the corner of his mouth lifting. You forgot to mention I came back every day after that. Another wave of laughter followed. A blonde reporter with a recorder shouted, Lana, how did you melt the coldest CEO in the city? What's your secret? Lana winked, leaning toward the mic. My secret? Good pastries, lots of smiles, and asking him silly questions. Try it works. Then she turned to Elliot with a grin. Right, Mr. CEO? Or do you want to share your version? Elliot looked at her, his eyes uncharacteristically soft. My version? She made everything worth living again. That's all. A collective awe rippled through the crowd. Becca, down in the audience, cupped her hands and shouted, Told you, Lana! He's completely smitten! Lana blushed scarlet and shot her a mock glare, but couldn't stop smiling. Later, back at Sugar and Bloom, life returned to normal, or at least what passed for normal after going viral. Lana restocked shelves, joked with regulars, and wiped down counters. But ever since the event, the shop had been busier than ever. Online, she'd become known as the girl who thawed the Valetech CEO. Mr. Henry, her favorite elderly customer, sat in his usual corner table, holding up a newspaper with Lana and Elliot on the cover. See, girl? He chuckled. I told you you're not just selling pastries, you're selling a little bit of magic. Lana handed him a cookie with a smirk. Don't believe everything you read, Mr. Henry. I just make sweets. He's just a VIP customer. Becca, wiping the counter nearby, jumped in. VIP? Lana, please. You are the reason he smiles now. Did you see the way he looked at you on that stage? I bet half the city's jealous. Lana laughed but looked thoughtful. He said I made his life brighter. Do you think he meant it? Becca crossed her arms and winked. Oh, he meant it. You lit up this bakery. You made his grandmother laugh. And now you made a CEO smile on camera, no less. If that's not brightening someone's world, I don't know what is. That evening, after closing time, Elliot stepped into Sugar and Bloom. The lights were dim, the sign flipped to closed, and only Lana remained, wiping the counter. He wasn't wearing his usual suit, just a dress shirt and slacks, looking more at ease than she'd ever seen him. You okay? He asked, voice soft. The press got a little carried away today. Lana laughed and set her towel down. Carried away? They called me the muse of Valetech, Elliot. I'm practically a tabloid icon now. You owe me. He stepped closer, eyes tender. I'm not great at repayment, but I do want to thank you, Lana, for making life brighter. Truly. Lana blinked, heart racing, but she teased to cover it. Brighter, huh? Where'd you learn that word, Mr. CEO? She smiled. Fine, I accept your thanks. Come by tomorrow, I've got a new recipe I want you to try, just to make your life even brighter. Elliot smiled and gently took her hand. I'll be here, not just for the pastries. Lana blushed but didn't pull her hand away. Keep talking like that, and I'm raising your prices, she joked, laughing. But in her eyes was a light calm, certain, joyful. That night, Lana lay on her couch, reading the article about her and Elliot on her phone. She smiled, thinking back to him on stage, calling her his someone special. She no longer feared being just a fleeting chapter in his story. She was Lana Brooks Baker, sunshine bringer, and the woman who made a CEO's heartbeat. And in a penthouse across the city, Elliot sat by his window, gazing at the little Sugar and Bloom card on his desk. For the first time, he wasn't afraid of letting someone into his world. Lana had changed him, And now he couldn't imagine his life without her in it, not just today, but for all the days to come. The Central Station buzzed just like it had a year ago, but tonight it shimmered with a romance that was hard to resist. Soft golden string lights wrapped around the pillars and railings, casting a warm glow onto the marble floor, blending perfectly with the gentle acoustic music played by a nearby street band. The crowd had thinned, leaving space for something special, like the station itself sensed that something magical was about to happen. Lana Brooks, wearing a teal sweater and a striped scarf, stepped into the station with her heart pounding. Elliot Vale had messaged her with just one mysterious line: "Meet me where it all began." 7 p.m. She had no idea what he was planning, but her gut told her this wasn't going to be an ordinary evening. She stood near the old wooden bench, the exact spot where Elliot had once mistaken her for someone else, and hugged her by accident. She smiled at the memory, recalling how she had handed him a donut to compensate for the awkward embrace. "If he pulls another prank tonight, I swear I'll make him buy out the whole bakery," she muttered, but her radiant smile betrayed her nerves. From a distance, Elliot appeared not in his usual suit, but in a rolled-up white shirt and black trousers, looking more down-to-earth than ever. He held a small white pastry box tied with a red ribbon, eyes soft, yet full of resolve. Lana tilted her head playfully. "What's with the mystery, Elliot? That box better not have another donut. I'm not that forgiving." Elliot chuckled softly, placed the box on the bench, and opened it. Inside was a small wedding cake, covered in pristine white frosting and decorated with delicate sugar flowers. Lana's eyes widened. "A wedding cake? Elliot, are you serious? Whose wedding is this for?" Then Elliot dropped to one knee, pulled a velvet box from his pocket, and opened it to reveal a sparkling diamond ring. The nearby bystanders started murmuring, phones raised, flashes blinking. "Lana," he said, voice deep and steady, rising above the distant hum of the station. "The first time I hugged you here, I had no idea I had just found the most precious thing in my life. This time, I'm not mistaken. It's you. And I want it to be you forever. Will you marry me?" Lana froze, tears welling up even as her smile stretched wide. She covered her mouth, laughing through the emotion. "Elliot Vale, you're ridiculous. Who proposes in a train station?" She paused, then nodded quickly, voice thick with happy tears. "But yes, of course I will." Applause erupted. Whistles echoed. A few strangers cheered. Elliot slipped the ring on her finger and pulled her into a tight embrace. "You are the most chaotic person I've ever met," he whispered, voice shaky with emotion. "But I never want to let you go." Lana laughed through tears, hugging him back. "You're worse, but I'm not letting go either. Mr. CEO, she tilted her head and teased, "Did you make that wedding cake yourself? If it tastes bad, I'm taking back my yes." Elliot grinned. "I ordered it from your shop. You think I'd risk baking it myself?" She burst out laughing and nudged him. "Smart choice. But you're eating the first slice, so I know you picked the right one." From the far side of the station, Becca and Grandma Amelia suddenly appeared, holding flowers and a little sign that read, "Congratulations." Becca rushed forward and hugged Lana. "I knew it. I told you he was serious. Look at that ring. Lana, you're officially Mrs. Vale." Amelia, with her silver hair and glowing smile, took Elliot's hand. "I knew you'd do it, my boy. Lana, you're the best girl I've ever met. Take care of him for me. He's a handful." She winked, making Lana giggle. "Don't worry, Grandma Amelia, I'm keeping him on a tight leash," Lana replied, hugging her. "But you've got to tell me more of his childhood superhero stories." Elliot shook his head with affection. "You two really are teaming up against me, huh?" Becca held up the sign and shouted to the crowd, "Who wants free wedding cake?" "Sugar and Bloom is sponsoring." Laughter erupted. A little girl ran over, tugging at Lana's coat. "Miss, are you the bride? You're really pretty." Lana knelt down and stroked the girl's hair. "Thank you, sweetie. I'm not a bride yet, but I'll bake you a wedding cake someday." Then she turned to Elliot and said, "See? Even kids approve of you." 6 months later, Sugar and Bloom was transformed into a warm wedding venue. Golden string lights hung across the bakery. Wooden tables were draped with linen cloths, and in the center stood a beautiful three-tiered wedding cake made by Lana herself. It was frosted with smooth vanilla cream, adorned with fresh flowers and tiny buttery cookies, just as she had once promised. The guest list was small, just their closest friends and family, Lana's parents, Amelia, Becca, Sarah, Tom from Vail Tech, Mr. Henry, and a few regulars from the bakery. Lana, wearing a simple white dress with a teal silk sash, stepped out from behind the counter holding a small bouquet. Elliot, in a black suit with no tie, stood waiting, eyes locked on her. "You look even better than the cake," he whispered, taking her hand. Lana winked. "Better than the cake? Elliot, you've learned how to compliment, but don't mess up the cake cutting later like you did with the ring toss, okay?" Amelia, in the front row, chuckled. "Lana, make sure he cuts that cake properly or he'll ruin your masterpiece." Becca, the bridesmaid, added, "Don't worry, Grandma, I'll supervise. But Lana, you better promise to make my wedding cake when it's my turn." The ceremony was short and full of laughter. Their vows were simple but sincere. "I promise I'll never hug the wrong woman again," Elliot said, making the room burst out laughing. "And I promise to keep you by my side, every single day." Lana smiled, eyes glistening. "I promise to always bake for you, even if you pretend not to like sweets. And I promise to love you forever." When they cut the cake, the crowd cheered, and Becca shouted, "Perfect slice! Now kiss her already." Blushing, Lana leaned into Elliot's arms as he pulled her into a sweet, lingering kiss amid the cheers of their closest loved ones. 2 years later, Sugar and Bloom remained the neighborhood's favorite bakery, but now it had a new employee, baby Lily Vale, daughter of Lana and Elliot. With Elliot's blue eyes and Lana's bright smile, 3-month-old Lily lay in a cozy bassinet behind the counter, gurgling happily as Lana sang lullabies. The bakery wasn't just a place for pastries anymore. It had become the heart of a love story that regulars still shared like a local legend. On a crisp autumn afternoon, Lana was holding Lily, feeding her while chatting with Becca. "Look at this little one," Lana cooed. "Her eyes are just like Elliot's, but I bet she'll be just as mischievous as her mom." Becca, now the bakery's co-manager, smirked. "If she's anything like you, Elliot's got his hands full. Speaking of which, where is he? Off closing another $1 million deal?" The door chimed, and Elliot walked in with rolled sleeves and a small bouquet. He kissed Lily's forehead, then kissed Lana. "No meetings today," he said softly. "I want to take my 2 girls for a walk in the park. Lily needs some fresh air, right, Princess?" Lana laughed, handing Lily over. "Princess? If you spoil her like this, she'll be demanding the whole bakery when she grows up." Amelia, dropping by for a visit, chuckled from the corner. "Elliot, you're the mushiest dad I've ever seen, but Lily's lucky she has parents like you two." Becca waved a hand playfully. "Grandma Amelia, you need to teach me how to make your butter cookies. I'm opening a rival shop next door." She winked at Lana. "Seriously, though, from one mistaken hug at the station to this, a whole baby." Lana looked at Elliot holding Lily, his eyes full of love. She smiled and took his hand. "From a wrong hug to a family. Elliot, what do you think about going back to the station today to tell Lily how we met?" Elliot nodded and wrapped his arms around her. "Let's do it, but this time I'll hug both of you. No more mistakes." That evening, Lana, Elliot, and baby Lily stood at the central station where it had all begun. Lily slept peacefully in her mother's arms as Elliot held them close, his eyes glowing. Becca and Amelia walked alongside, laughing as they retold the story of the day everything changed. Lana looked at the ring on her finger and smiled, thinking about the journey from one accidental embrace to this moment of family, love, and a life more radiant than she ever imagined.